Washington, D.C., 8:51 a.m., January 20th, 2009. Congressman. Yes, young lady. Jacob and Esau, they play too many video games. But they work hard. They're good boys. Come in. Sir, they'll be ready for you in 5 minutes. Thank you. I'm really very sorry we've taken so much of your time. We should get going. No, no, please stay. We still have a little time. What were you going to ask? I guess, well, school. What did you do after high school? How did you go to college? Is that where you met Dr. King? Ha, well, yes and no. My mother helped me go to college. My mother had a part-time job working at the White Baptist Offering Home in downtown Troy, Alabama. One day at work, she saw a little paper published by the Alabama Baptist Convention, which was all white. It mentioned a school in Nashville called the American Baptist Theological Seminary that was jointly supported by the White Southern Baptists and the Black National Baptists. According to the article, it was a school for black men and women to study and become ministers or missionaries. And it offered a work study program on campus. Apply here. So I applied to go to school there and was accepted. And I got a job washing dishes and serving the food on the line. It wasn't glamorous, but I got to know all the faculty, students, and visitors. Everybody needs to eat. I loved the new ideas college was introducing me to in religion and philosophy, but I couldn't stop thinking about the social gospel. Here I was reading about justice when there were brave people out there working to make it happen. I started to feel guilty for not doing more. I became restless. I thought about Troy State, just a few miles from my parents' home, where no black student was allowed, so I applied as a transfer student. 1 month passed, then another. I never heard back. Finally, I decided to introduce myself to the only person who I thought could understand what I was trying to do. Over the next several weeks, I exchanged a series of letters and phone calls with Reverend Ralph Abernathy and a lawyer named Fred Gray. Everyone knew Fred Gray. He was representing Rosa Parks, and now was Dr. King's attorney. Finally, Gray and Abernathy wrote to tell me that Dr. King wanted to meet me. One Saturday morning in the spring of 1958, my father drove me to the Greyhound bus station again. Neither of us said a word. I boarded the bus and traveled 50 miles from Troy to Montgomery. I'd never seen a lawyer before, black or white. I presume you're John Lewis? Yes, sir. Attorney Gray? We're going to drive to the church. Click, click. Come in. So, you the boy from Troy? You John Lewis? I just wanted to meet the boy from Troy. I was so scared. Who is this young man who wants to desegregate Troy State? I didn't know what to do or what to say. Dr. King, I am Robert Lewis. I said my whole name. I am John Robert Lewis. Do you really want to go to Troy State? Yes, Dr. King. want to go to Troy State. They questioned me about everything. Where I was from, well, how I was raised, if I knew what I would really face. To attend Troy State, I have to sue the state of Alabama and the Board of Education. You're not old enough to file a suit. You'll have to get your parents' okay. They're going to have to sign. But if you want to go, we'll help. We'll raise the money to file those suits, and we'll support you all the way. But you must keep in mind, your parents could lose their jobs. Your family home, it could be bombed or burned. You may get hurt, or your family may get hurt. I don't know what will happen. You need to go back to Troy and talk it over with your family. My father didn't say a word to me on the ride back from the bus station either. The next morning, they sat me down for questioning, asking me what had happened the previous day. I told them. First, they wanted to be supportive, but they were afraid, not just for themselves, but for those around us, for our friends and neighbors. They said they didn't want anything to do with the filing of the suit against the state of Alabama. Nothing, not one thing. I was heartbroken, but it was their decision. I wrote Dr. King a letter explaining that I would be returning to Nashville in the fall. Looking back, it must have been the spirit of history taking a hold of my life. Because in Nashville, I'd meet people who opened my eyes to a sense of values that would forever dominate my moral philosophy. The way of peace, the way of love, the way of nonviolence. Come in? Sir, it's time. Thank you. Congressman Lewis, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. You have no idea how much this means. Thank you, John Lewis. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Anytime, you're welcome. Rosa, thank you for waiting. How are you? I'm good, Bob. Are you ready? I'm ready. Congressman, before you go, there's a message here. It's from Jim Lawson. March 26, 1958. I was attending the First Baptist Church in downtown Nashville. You can literally stand on the steps, throw a baseball, and hit some of the steps of the Tennessee Capitol. A young man will be joining us this evening, if you're interested. He'll be conducting a workshop of nonviolence here at the First Baptist. His name is Jim Lawson. The congregation led by Kelly Miller Smith were black Baptists who left the white church because they had been forced to worship in the balcony. I was one of the first volunteers to attend. Yes? It wasn't a very large meeting. I was the only student to go from my little school. There were young people like Diane Nash from Fisk University. Others came from Meharry Medical College and Tennessee State. At the time, Jim Lawson was a graduate student in the Dignity School at Vanderbilt. He also represented an organization called the Fellowship of Reconciliation, better known as FOR, F-O-R, a pacifist group committed to the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. FOR had always published a popular comic book called Martin Luther King and the Montgomery Story, which explained the basics of passive resistance and nonviolent action as tools for desegregation. I want to start working with young people, with students, high school and college students. Jim talked about Montgomery bus boycott, about war resistance, about nonviolence. He spoke of Gandhi, this little brown man from India using the way of nonviolence to free an entire nation of people. and how we could apply nonviolence just as Dr. King did in Montgomery, all across America, South and North, to eradicate some of the evils we all faced. The evil of racism, the evil of poverty, the evil of war. Jim Lawson conveyed the urgency of developing our philosophy, our discipline, our understanding. His words liberated me. I thought, this is it. This is the way out. I told my classmates, I told two of my closest friends, Bernard and James Beagle, I told everyone that they should come to the workshop. A few days later, another nonviolence workshops, this time ministers and students from a number of different schools nearby. Bernard Lafayette was one of the first people to attend with me. We called each other names. You son of a bitch. Over and over again. Over and over again. In time, everyone plays the roles of protesters, the instigators, and the resistance. What are you doing sitting here, Negro? There may be a black person playing the role of white person or vice versa. Why are you here with these Negroes? We each tried everything we could to test ourselves, to break each other's spirits. We tried to dehumanize each other. Sometimes I couldn't help but smile, even laugh, when someone played such an unnatural role. But sometimes it was one of our friends calling you names, knocking you down, spitting on you. You okay, Charles? I don't think I can do it. I just can't. Maybe I can bring them signs or make them. Maybe I can drive people to the site, but I can't. I can't take it. I can't be nonviolent. I cannot. For some, it's too much. But we needed to see how each of us would react under stress. Lawson taught us to protect ourselves, how to disarm our attackers by connecting with their humanity. Maintain eye contact, John. How to protect each other. But the hardest part to learn, to truly understand deep in your heart, how to survive. How to find love for your attacker. Do not let them shake your faith and not violence. Love them. He took a name, the Nashville Student Movement, because of our distrust of centralized power. We insisted on a rotating leadership. We're all in this together. We were all ready to act. Segregation at the downtown stores bothered us for the most. We could shop there and pay the same prices as white customers, but we couldn't use the dressing rooms or sit at the lunch counter to eat. It was humiliating. So we decided the department store lunch counters would be our first target. November 28, 1959. We started with the test sit-ins to test the local stores' policies establishing that they would not serve an interracial or all-black group. Our plan was simple. Enter a store, ask to be served, and if or when we refused, we would leave. I was nervous. We were all nervous. Cha-ching! We each purchased something, establishing us as a legitimate paying customer, and then sat down at the lunch counter for a bite to eat. Clip, 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 clip. Sorry, can't serve you here. May we speak to the manager? Part of our discipline was that only one person spoke for the group in an action. On this day, we designated Diane. Click, clack, click, clack. I'm the manager. Look, store policy not to serve colored people here. What about the white students? Can they be served? No, sorry. They're with you. So we can't serve them either. Thank you. No harsh words, no violence. No one even paid much attention as we left. When the news of the student-led campaign spread, words of encouragement and support flowed in from around the country. We decided to stage our second test sit-in the following Saturday, December 5th. Hold up. We don't serve colored people here. This time I think they were expecting us. May I speak to the manager, please? Sorry. Store policy not to serve Negroes. Thank you. So again, we left without incident. In January, following the winter break from school, our weekly workshop numbers swelled. We were close to ready, though no specific date had yet been set for our first sit-in. As fate, or the spirit of history would have it, someone else made the move for us. On Monday, February 1st, 1960, in Greensboro, North Carolina, 4 freshmen from North Carolina A&T took seats in the downtown Woolworth's lunch counter. One of them had to read the floor comic about Dr. King and Montgomery, which got them talking about nonviolent action. Sorry, but it's against our policy to serve colored people. The next day, 19 students, black and white, had joined the original 4 at Woolworth's. By Wednesday, the number swelled to 85 and similar sit-ins had formed in Raleigh and Durham. The young North Carolina minister, Douglas Moore, was a friend of Jim Lawson and called to encourage us. They've been preparing. That's right. We've had 2. They're nearly ready. On February 7th, 1 week after the Greensboro sit-ins, we began ours. Washington, D.C., 8:57 a.m., January 20th, 2009. Okay, gotta go. Do you all have everything? I think we're all set. Bob, are you going to be warm enough? It was 19 degrees in our car's thermometer, and it's not even supposed to get above freezing today. Do you have scarves? Gloves? I have gloves. I think I have a hat somewhere, too. Here it is. Oh, you can't wear that. Why not? People need to see you. They need to see your face. Do you have a scarf? Maybe a different hat? No? Here, Congressman. Use this one. There, Bob, wear that. I can't take the young man's scarf. What's he going to wear? I'm going to be inside. I won't need it, sir. Seriously, take it. Thank you, brother. Okay, going to wear the scarf. I appreciate it. But you all really don't have to go through all this trouble. There was a half a foot of snow on the ground in Nashville the day the first sit-in, and I survived that.